Quotations from myself, segment 38, quotation number 448. The difference in the ways one derives wisdom out of reading philosophical as opposed to fictional writings, provided of course they both contain wisdom, is the same as the difference between obtaining vitamins by swallowing a pill as opposed to eating an orange. 449. The 999th poem about the atomic bomb, the 555th book about Holocaust, how one to endure, let alone put an end to this relentless trivialization of the most tragically significant events. 450. There is nothing but reality. Even the most outlandishly unreal myths are made up out of her elements by putting what is incompatible and contradictory together, like for example joining half of a man and half of a horse to create a centaur. 451. Whatever you do or say, remember that your race, nation, class, profession, in short any group you belong to, will be collectively held responsible for what you as its representative member have said or done. For no matter how enlightened, we are all guilty of committing at one time or another the so-called fallacy of hasty generalization, when after observing that a small number or special sort of the members of a particular group possess some characteristic, it is assumed that the whole group must have it as well. 452. Artists could be divided in two main groups, depending on the stage of cognition they are depicting in their works. For the process of cognition also consists of the two main stages. The first, or primary stage, is the immediate perception through the senses and mental faculties. The second stage involves organizing, analyzing, and interpreting the material of the first into opinions, notion, and hopefully understanding. Accordingly, the artists, in whatever medium they work, either create on the basis of the first stage of cognition by describing what they experience, or on the basis of second stage by telling what they feel and think. Nowhere this division is more pronounced than in poetry. The following are the descriptions of a lake as an example of the first stage of cognition and creation, and the reflection on the autumn as an example of the second. Lake. I saw the sun sink. I saw the sun sink behind the lake and fizzle out, and saw the clouds gathered in a mob. The lake is cold and bloody. Rabbit. Small waves beat the shore, grating against the sand, and seaweeds tossed and broken washes up brown on the beach. This was the first example. The second, autumn. Blood of red leaves spills on the ground. The air is swelling with decay, but I smell flowers flooded May. I hear spring's thundered, raptured sound. So I will have to reconcile spring's thunder with a fall decade, gloom of November, hope of May, once more, just for a little while. 453. Truth needs but a few words. Lie never had enough. 454. The best way to learn is by teaching. For in order to teach, we must first clarify things to ourselves, which means to learn. That is why those who like to learn are usually in the habit of teaching, whether asked or not realizing that this often uncontrollable impulse to teach others is a product of the subconscious desire to assure themselves of their own knowledge. 455. Many a man would have been teachers if not for the lack of the disciples. 456. In the middle of a hustle and a bustle, stop and look around. Don't float like a dead wood till you run aground. 457. Man is born with innate capacity and need to love and to hate. For even the cruelest monsters love somebody, if not a man, then a pet. And even the kindest saint does hate somebody, if not a man, then a bedbug. 458. Contrary to the popular assumptions and expectations, today's experience of a great tragedy does not make a man impervious to tomorrow's petty irritants. One can be totally devastated by the loss of the nearest and dearest one day, and then later some other day be as upset as the next man over the loss of keys or something of this sort. And neither the suffering of the great physical pain in the past can make a man immune to even the smallest one in the present or future. One who has been tortured and mutilated yesterday would still feel the pain caused by nothing more than the prick of a needle tomorrow. As long as he lives, man will never grow accustomed to pain, neither to emotional nor to the physical one. For being alive entails feeling of pain, and to feel pain means to be alive. The price of life is life itself, the awesome price to pay for rich or poor, for ill or well, but that's the only way. 459. I weep remembering my youth, naivete, and search for truth, when deaf and blind with my thoughts, I could not know who was what. My friends, they hardly were my friends, and used me for their own ends, for I was smart and had strong arms, taught them to think, and same from harm. But I, of course, has used them too. The one wrong thing we all must do in order to avoid the pain of loneliness, not a small gain. Yet I suspect that even then they knew I wasn't one of them. They couldn't help but feel that I saw all things with a stranger's eye. Then, after many years had passed, I met them one by one at last. They were too old, I was too wise, for me to miss for them disguise all jealousies, resentment, anger, with me who once was smarter and stronger. When they resentful try to prove that this is no longer true, made me at long last understand I never had a single friend.